Good evening. It's 7 o'clock on Saturday, the 2nd of May. You know what we're like when we work from home. We don't really keep track of date. And every single time, pretty much, that I do one of these recordings, I have to look and see what the date is. Should do it ahead of time, really, but there we go. So, in the absence of guests this evening, and I had actually changed it ahead of time, I thought I would talk about judging short story competitions because earlier on this week, a couple of days after Self Pub Fest's first in-person all-day festival, which was brilliant, lots of lovely feedback on that in Aylesbury, I went up to Lutterworth in Leicestershire to judge a local writing group's short story competition, which I'd been sent 10 by post or email, usually email, but these were by post. And then what I do is I go through them either sometimes. Well, I'll see. Let me read this out, and then if I've got further information to add, I'll add them. So, what this judge looks for. Sometimes I leave the more interesting titles to last, but in this case, for Lutterworth Writing Group, I read the stories in alphabetical order. Judging is a fine balance between the strength of writing and closeness to the theme. I have received stories in the past where they feel as if they've been written previously but shaped to fit a theme. That's fine up to a point, but you do have to really remember what the theme is and try to get it as close as possible. A good judge will forget their personal lives and read stories for their merit, not be swayed by any topic that's too close for home. For instance, if a judge is going through a breakup, they should set that aside if there are any stories based on divorce or breakups. For me, it's often how I feel at the end. Obviously, during as well, I want to feel something for the story. But if I go wow at the end, then a story is likely to end up fairly high on the list. Most stories feel that they would work really well as a scene or chapter from a novel. Others feel perfect as just a slice in time, although most could be developed into longer pieces. I run a free 50-word competition, so free to enter on my blog, and that's Morgen Bailey, it's Morgen, morganbailey.wordpress.com/50, the 2-digit number, -word-comp. And I place each story, or the stories, in as winner, second, third, and up to 5 highly commended. And I do this as I go through them. So as I get them in, I think, oh yes, that's really good. That could be second or third, could be first, or it's good. So let's put it as highly commended for now and see what happens. And then gradually the order changes. It probably then takes just as long to jiggle the order when I've been through them all. And I get anywhere between 6 in a month, and most I've had is 49 in a month, usually in the 20s. I've also launched a bi-monthly, so started on the 1st of April. The first round first theme finishes on the 31st of May, so you still have time to enter, on the Self Pub Fest website, where the theme up to the end of May is the opening. Half the prize pot, that's entry monies less PayPal fees, is split between the top 3 entrants. And I will be doing highly commended as well if I get enough entries. The other half of the money goes to the 3 local book charities that Self Pub Fest supports. So the link for that is self-pub-fest.co.uk/300, and that's 300 -words-a-day/competition. And the reason why I say 300 words a day, and the competition is actually up to 300 words. 300 words a day is because it's my favourite statistic. 300 words a day equates to 109,500 words a year in a non-leap year. So you could start writing today, and then by the 2nd of May, or by Christmas really, you could have 100,000 words pretty much if you want looking to write a novel. Now, I say that stories should provide for ease. Their first job is to entertain, but they should also educate. So you want readers to learn from it. You want to have words in there that readers may not know, but still have the context so they understand what the word means without having to have a dictionary next to them and look it up. Then they should feel some emotion while they're reading them, and especially at the end, relief or pleasure, and an escape from our day-to-day lives. There should be more than simple sight, that's the description, and sound, the dialogue. So do include smell, touch, and taste, at least hinted at, if not described. Stories should all be relatable. Obviously, I'm not necessarily a reader, not necessarily actually experienced being in that character's situation, hopefully not in lots of cases. And I like stories that drip feed vital information. So we think something's happening and okay, that makes not necessarily a big twist, but we've been given a little bit of information that makes it clearer, and especially where the reader learns something ahead of the character learning something as well. So my process, when I get stories in, I go through them, and so I save them into files if I get them as individual Word documents on an email. I save them into a folder for whichever competition I'm judging, and then I'll go possible and unsuccessful. And if a story is good, it'll go in the possibles. And if I feel that I'm likely to read better stories, then it goes in the unsuccessful. And depending on how many places the writing group want, or the organizer wants, then as long as I've got, say, 5, first, second, third, 2 highly commended in the possibles folder, certainly if I do go wow, they don't even go in a folder. They'll stay in the root. So with this one, that I had a clear winner, and probably 1 or 2 possible seconds. One I was fairly sure would be second, and then I really liked, could have been second, more likely third, and then I had 4 that I thought could be highly commended. So, and then it took me a little while, it took me another read. So I read them initially and put them where I think they might be, and then read them again, and to find out the final order. And often I'm asked to give feedback. So when I'm doing judging for especially a writing group, then I will give just a paragraph, maybe 3 or 4 lines from each story, and with obviously lots of positives and maybe a constructive. But what I tend to do for the paragraph is make it very positive, all very positive, what I liked about it. And then at the end, I will have a lot of tips. So some will be inspired by the stories, other ones, I have a long list. This one was 7 pages altogether of tips, things that I don't like to call them errors, but things that I see on or have seen on a regular basis. And it's very rare that I'm just going to go into my checklist document and see how long that is. I don't have it open. I know how long it is. It's 60 pages where I have comments. So for instance, if you've got something like dialogue where we've got, well, I don't know, well, maybe, well, okay, and then we've got well all the way down the page, I have a little paragraph in my checklist document that says, like, I can't remember the exact phrasing, but like, we go, when we're about to say something, where I see well a lot as what I call a dialogue pause. So what I tend to do when I see that is, depending on whether the author uses a single quote mark or speech marks, and then puts obviously capital L, ELL, and then a space or a comma, I then search for that form. And then at the end of a notes document, if it's a novel, I'll do a notes document with repetition at the end, and I'll put how many there are. So I just go well times 50, say, which is too many in a novel. Obviously, if I search for it that way, then I'm not picking out things, something like the toast was well done, because then it won't come out with quote marks at the beginning and a comma after the well. So I hope that's been a little insight into how I judge short story competitions. So for me, it is a balance between the quality of the writing, because it's a writing competition, and also how close a story is to the theme. Because I have judged themed stories in the past where one of them was A Walk at Midnight, that was H.E. Bates, where a story wasn't set at midnight, had no mention of midnight, and there was no walking done in the story. So you do have to bear in mind the theme. And I think it's really clever where the theme, it fits at the beginning and the end, and maybe partway through. But you should certainly bear this in mind, because you may, even if you don't feel your writing is as strong as other writers, if you've stuck to the theme, then it has a better chance. Okay, I hope that's interesting, perhaps useful if you're entering short story competitions. And do have a go. I'll give you the links again for my free 50-word story competition. That's morganbailey.wordpress.com/50-word-comp for competition. And then the 300, which isn't free, but it's only £3 for a story, £5 to enter 2 stories. And you just click on the PayPal link and pay your £5 and then send them in, or £3 if you just want to send one. And that is self-pub-fest, fest.co.uk/300, the digits, words, that's 300 words -a-day/competition, or just search for Self Pub Fest and you should be able to find it. Thank you for watching, and do leave a comment below. Thank you.